Hello, this is an AYD League game. There was a bit of a roller coaster. The Fuseki seemed promising for black, then it turned well for white, and all of a sudden we had a semi on the left where white was winning big, but some misclick happened and eventually black turned the game around. So let's check it out. Parallel Fuseki, the popular Sun invasion, so far so good. Here white has the option to block the other side as well. It's absolutely fine. Both moves are like 50-50, so nothing wrong to choose one or the other. Even though it's obvious that when white blocks at q3, white is interested in the bottom oil. But actually blocking r4, if we have this kind of follow-up, one of the most common josekis with the Sun invasion, white will end up with the bottom oil anyway. So white originally blocks on the right side, but actually the influence is still on the bottom side. So it's good to remember the direction of play here. So either side is fine. Now, where white plays just no b, if black goes s6, white is already sente, and now white can play a shimari here in order to set up a bottom oil, but of course white can also play other moves elsewhere. Anyway, in this case, white decided to play the keima, and black attach under. Now this attach usually leads to very complicated variations if white decides to block. This will lead to the so-called flying knife joseki, push and inside cut. Then all kind of tricky plays can happen. Here white has to pay attention because what black wants to do is to cut p6 and set up some ladders, and the ladders are working fine because black has a stone in the top left corner. So white needs to push here, then black will turn and white gotta connect. Of course there's a variation where white blocks like this and it branches out into long complicated sequences. So usually the simple one is to connect solid, then black goes down, and now white just sacrifices the bottom stones in order to get some thickness on the outside. So we have this one of the standard flying knife joseki, but it's already a monster joseki, almost over 20 move sequence, so it can be tricky. Therefore, white decided to play something simple. That's a pretty good option actually. When you play q5, you avoid complicated fights and it can just revert to this. So it's actually like playing bump and cover and then Han on the second line. This would be the order of moves. Or when white plays no b, black pushes and white hane, then black will hane under. So this is pretty much the same thing with the keima, pull back, and then black blocks. But here black decided to go no b. That's a fine option, and also black has the option to play hane, in which case white will play the cover on top to go for the wall, and then white can cut to see whether black will protect solid like this or capture the stone, in which case white has the nose Tetsuji, or play Atari and then the nose Tetsuji and cover. So this will give white a very nice wall, and white can extend somewhere to the middle of the side. But black decides just to play simple, so no b on the second line. In this position, white can just leave this lower right corner as it is and just extend on the bottom side somewhere. Any of these middle side extensions are good, or a shimari, high or low, or simply play away. Approach a corner like this, Sun invasion in both corners, or inside approaches, f17, o17. So what I'm suggesting is that white can just tenuki after black plays s7 and decide later how to continue on the bottom side. Now locally, the actual move in the game, it's a push on top, which is playable, but usually white wants to play a hane in the corner to see whether black will block r5, s2, or simply connect s5, which would be a little bit slack for black. Usually on this hane, black will block s2, and now this facilitates the hane at s5 for white, because if you have the hane in the corner, when you cut at s5, black will never separate here, because next white will capture the stones. So it creates a dame tsumari, which means black is forced to capture at q2 and now I can just connect R5. If black defends the corner R1 or goes out, then white will put pressure on the right side. So it's a trade. You give up this honey in the corner for trying to catch these stones on the outside, which is fine for white. Now if black plays on the outside something like R9 or R10 to save those two stones, black plays on the outside to save the two stones, white can either Atari here and go for outside thickness, or consider the squeeze play. But in this case, black is not going to connect the two stones because everything will die, but go out. And of course, white will capture two stones in center. So it's very important to play the honey in the corner first, R2. Because if you just play S5, then, well, actually the push first, black will take the profit in the corner. So here, black can build a bigger corner. Black can just block R5, white can Nobi, I mean, white has to Nobi in Gote, and then black will take the middle side extension. But black decided to block with Hane. So here, white cuts. White should actually Hane first. Hane on top, if this is played first, black is not going to go for double Hane, because in this case, white cuts under and then blocks this way, Atari, and now connect. So it's a trade. You give up one stone bait to kill the corner. Which means, on this Hane, black should go Nobi. And now when you cut, black can cut and capture these guys. But if you start with a cut like it happened in the game, so you give up the corner, I mean, well, you get all these forcing moves in the corner for giving up S5, but now when you Hane at Q8, like it happened in the game, black can go double Hane here. And he should have, but black just played Nobi. I think black is feeling quite satisfied with the locker result. But let's go back a few moves. No, actually, let's look at the double Hane. So instead of Nobi, if black plays his double Hane, white needs to Atari, then extend. Black can push one more time and then capture the stone either with Atari or a one space jump. So black can clearly build more on the right side. But if we go back here, when black plays the Hane, white will Nobi, black has to Nobi. Sorry, white Hane, black Nobi. White doesn't cut anymore, just Hane in the corner at R2. So in this case, when black plays here, you Hane again, Atari, no need to sacrifice the stone at S5, and then either push along or defend against the cutting point. So this would be a nice thickness on the outside for white, and less points for black on the right, compared to the actual game. So we had the cut, then the Hane in the corner. Obviously when you play the Hane in the corner after you cut, black will never block here and give you the corner. So when you start with R2, then S5, black will never connect the stones. Good to remember the order of moves. So always Hane on the second line at R2 first. Okay, now back to the game. White pushes along and black plays away. Well, here, white can just protect against the cut at P7 or leave the position like this and extend to the middle of the side. The problem is black can cut here, come out, and then either attack the bottom stones or the 4 stones in the center. So a proper move would be just protect like this. If you push along, black still has this Atari and escape if he wants to be more aggressive. Now this is quite an interesting pincer. Usually the pincer should be low and tight at G3 because you're seeking connection with E3. So many times when people jump out with a Nikki and Toby, you just attach under and you connect. That's why they play the attach in the corner or Kosumi like this. But if you really want to build a Moe on the right side, you can go J3 or attach, then pull back and connect underneath like this, or attach Nobi if black goes for the corner this way. This is an old-fashioned Joseki, so you give up the corner but get a huge box on the outside like this. Anyway, this is similar with white's plan and play in the actual game. So more interesting to play the G3 one space low pincer, especially that you've seen Josekis here and it's much easier to handle the Josekis you know. Also H4, it's a nice pincer to consider if you want to be closer to the wall, but in the same time put some pressure on E4. Now the Josekis here the most common one is to play Ogema, cut, hane, bump, shape point, then black will push and cut one stone. Now white can hane under or cut on the outside. On the hane under, black will Atari, take a Ponuki, then white goes for outside thickness again. Anyway, this is white's plan, to make this big box on the outside. So it's more interesting to play either a pincer at g3 or a pincer at h4. But the pincer we see here, it's h3, and that's a little bit rare. Usually here black will just play something like d6 and don't worry so much about the bottom. Just go for the outside. Well, left side in this case. The Kosumi is strange because anyway black is not going to connect under. White is not going to connect under. When the pincer is played g3, Kosumi makes sense because it prevents this connection with the attach. But if the stone is h3, e3 doesn't work anyway. So let's say black plays a cap move here. If white tries to connect, black covers, white pulls back, black connects. And if white plays a crosscut, this shape is excellent for black in fact. So the Kosumi is a bit strange. It's more like a reflex play, thinking that if a low pincer comes, black should come out with a Kosumi. But in this case it looks nice for white. So white played a Keima to prevent being pressed down and make the Moe on the right side. Actually the one spade jump works too, and go for a bigger box. I guess black will surround this stone in the corner, which happened. But even so, white can just leave. Kosumi, hane, and connect. On this move, just go down. So the Keima at j5, it's excellent. It's nice for the box on the bottom side. This hane in the head of two stones, it's a little bit risky because black can cut. So, but yeah, the shape requires hane in the head of two stones. Normally here it's much easier to play just nobi. If black pushes, you can hane now. But yeah, this is playable too. Then go down in center, that's fine. Black can defend this way or this way. Because even if white plays one Atari, it's okay to take away a liberty of this S10 group. Because now when white extends, white should pay attention and play a bit safer. Like this, white has an extra liberty at S9, so it's easier to extend and make a base. 3-space jump extension can be a little bit risky. It's much easier to fight if R13, because black can go nobi up in center, threatening the cut. But now he cannot invade the right side. He needs to play this kind of cap move and then focus in other areas on the board. Playing like this, black can go up in center. Yeah, this is a brave jump. The proper move is just connect. But then black can try this move, which happened in the game as well. Here black would push and cut. That's a problem for white. White needs to connect this way, which is quite ugly. Then the ladder works. And again, white has a problem on the right side. If white plays here, black jumps in. If white defends the right side, black can erase the bottom. So the extension at R14 was a little bit risky. 2-space jump, it's safer, obviously. And then on the nobi, just protect this way. So now black is a little bit heavy in the center too. Anyway, black pushes from behind. So this gives white a nice bottom box. That's an interesting idea to reduce the moyo with this shoulder hit coming from K6. White resists, that's good. Here white can play the wedge to create cutting points. Now when black defends here, white will protect this way. It's not interesting to cut and catch just one stone. More interesting to connect under and build a territory on the 5th line. So push. Yeah, well, it's similar. Yeah, that's a nice move. This is threatening a co-fight at t4. So black defends, then turn. That also shows fighting spirit. Normally, white can just protect this way or with a clamp and keep the bottom. But this turn is nice. Separates the 3 stones from the other 3 stones in the middle. So actually here white is taking the initiative. Now that's a little bit tricky. So the way white should fight here, it's either attach under or play an empty triangle, a bump, and if black pulls back, white connects underneath. So this is a way to avoid co-fights and other complicated variations, because obviously when you attach, black will hane and then cut. But this is still not a problem. White can play a counter Atari, in which case if black goes up, you catch a stone and the other dies too. So black will take, and now Atari again. If black connects, you just connect. So you either kill the 3 stones in the middle or the stones on the side. And on the side, black is not going to crawl like this, it's just too painful. He can leave, but it's a 4 points 4 points life in that shape, and then white can still catch these 3 stones in the middle and be happy with the wall on the outside. So that's terrible, which means black will fight the ko. But this ko it's also okay for white. I mean, there's not much to lose in the ko, and for black it's huge. Everything can collapse on the right side. So this should happen. Now we gotta count liberties. So let's see, black cuts, and white is giving up some stones. Yeah, not much to do. Normally here, black should play Atari and then just catch the 2 stones, and it's fine. But like this, it's bad for black, because white can squeeze. That's good. Atari again, and then catch the 2 stones. So from a situation where black could kill those guys and save his group, now white, it's safe and black it's running. Nice. Cut and fight. Here black could play the hane, threatening the Atari on the right, or just Atari once and then leather, and of course white will Atari from the outside, then protect, but black gets much stronger in this area. Oh, that's even dangerous in fact. Yeah, white will leave, but black really got a lot of profit and run out here. So black plays Nobi, and white gets into the top. In fact, white should connect solid here. This is risky. Black Atari, then pull back. Now white runs, black runs. So black is supposed to play Kosumi here. Otherwise white will push and cut. Not yet. White should do that. It's difficult to use the stones in the middle in a different way. So if white pushes here and black blocks, cut one time, this is all forced, and now just Kosumi. So even if you lose these 3 stones, you catch the other group on a large scale, and the box just got bigger. And if black goes Nobi, then push and cut, and it's still a problem for black, because you still kill the stones on the bottom side on the large scale. So it's a good sacrifice. Otherwise, in the actual game, those guys died without compensation. Oh, this was expensive. White it's in Atari. So if white connects, actually let's see something else. Yeah, white connects, black will hane, Atari go out, Atari take or escape. White needs to defend. How is the fight? Turn. Too much running. Unclear. White is just going to run a lot, but like this it's also expensive. Black can catch 4 stones and ouch. So they die without any compensation. Yeah, this kind of happened. For black it's interesting to block O17 or go all the way to H17. So when white Nobi, next slide, and there's no base for this group. So right now black is looking good. But all of a sudden things will change again. That's big. For black it's interesting to play a move like this, threatening a cut. So when white protects, then black defends the corner. White either jumps out or pushes again in the corner. Like this, black can surround. White will leave, but it's kind of painful. Then just extend and go for a big left side. So playing here shows that black is confident he can win. Now that's an interesting move. I'm not sure if it's a misclick, but it looks like one. Maybe white should play C8 here or just leave in the corner. Okay. So it was more like a probe and then try to leave on the left. For black it's interesting to turn or hane. This way white doesn't have a base, so even if white jumps turns direction here or jumps in the center, black already gets profit, and now black should kill the corner. This way, white dies unconditionally. So there's nothing for black to worry about this corner. Okay, jump out. White can still live in the corner, that's a bit greedy. So turn once, then Kosumi. And here, white lives in the corner in a seki, which is more like a temporary seki, because black group on the outside, it's really suffering. That's a very good shape. Yeah, black has no ice so far. Very good to play this Kosumi and take away the potential. So Ane, cut. Here white doesn't have to cut, just cover. If black connects, you play here. Then black can make one eye. Oh yeah, like this black almost leaves. But anyway, when you cut, black can play this move or Atari. So it's still better to cover from the outside. Now black has no ice. He missed this vital point at g4. Now some desperate semi-eye attempt. Here black can, white can play Atari from the outside, then connect here. Because when black cuts, Atari, push along, connect. So white has many liberties on the outside, and it's much easier to win the semi-eye. But so far so good. Connect, push through, block. Now fix the corner, so it's seki, ane, Atari, connect. But this move is not necessary. It's better to make liberties in the middle, because when black plays here, white will false the eye, and when black plays here, white can play inside. So that was a waste. It's too early to play the move, especially if it's not necessary. Okay, then this is all forced. Now throw in, Atari again. So far so good. So black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liberties. White comes out. Actually, it's more interesting to come out the other direction. Anyway, white has more liberties and nothing can happen here. So if you just cover like this, black plays here, take away another liberty, black plays here, take away another liberty, Atari, connect. White has 1, 2, 3, 4. And black has only 2. So when black plays here, you play away. And it's game over. You kill this lower left corner, he's supposed to resign. So we have this schema. And now, taking a neutral point here, it's clearly a misclick. White wanted to play here for sure, and then capture the stone. Because this has nothing to do with the fight, it's looks like a complete nonsense. So I think this was the misclick. Yeah, and actually white is still okay. White can play Kosumi to go out, then push. This was a really terrible unforced error. White should connect here. Now when black cuts, white has Atari and connect and still enough liberties to win the semi. Yeah, so playing this move, it's ouch. That's how you can lose a one game. And now 3 against 3, but black plays first. So black got back and won the game by 1 liberty. This was a huge unforced error to go k12. Enjoy the review and pay more attention next games.